Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This homie and peace out to the rest of you. You already know who it is and who it ain't. It ain't your boy and it is your man, the blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media, signing black in and shining again, asking you to hit the mother cuss word share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So here goes the message, straight up. I've been listening to talk of this whole black on Asian violence, and I don't believe that we're motivated or numerous enough to commit nearly the level or amount of violence that the mayonnaise mafia will commit and must be doing. For one, we don't expect to be able to get away with stuff like this in most cases. It would behoove Asians of any nationality, whether they're the ones who hate black folks and the ones who don't, it would behoove them to understand that if a black person is going to grab them up, it could be a black person that would have grabbed up anybody, really. And he's either doing it because he's ignorant and he'll grab up anybody, or he's doing it because he's heard that Asians hate black people. And it's a reaction. But a black person's not going to grab an Asian and hurt them because we hate Asians because they're Asian. That's some white folk shit. They'll do that. I mean, hell, they colonized China, later Korea, and tried that with Japan several times. They colonized Vietnam. They colonized Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines to prove a point, and other nations I'm probably forgetting. They did that because Asians aren't white. When somebody white does this, they do it because they actually felt superior all along. They do it for the same reason their ancestors went into Asia and colonized wherever they could. Same reason they went into the Americas and Africa and did the same thing. But again, the motives will be different, but I don't think that black folks are committing most of it. I'm going to talk to those who are normally in my audience. I don't need to talk to the idness that is out there doing that because they're not a part of the audience anyway. They don't know about Black Mind, Black Heart. They don't know about this channel. They don't know about Red Pill anything. They know nothing about any of this. I'm talking to you that's normally in the audience because most of you have sound hearts and minds, and you don't side with the oppressor against the oppressed. So you may wonder, if I see one of us'ns hemming up somebody with an epicanthal fold over their eyelid, what do I do? And I would say it's as simple as this. You go by the melanin count. See, morally speaking, I don't consider it wrong to grab someone from the Chinese or the Korean communities in North America where you are and shake the out of them, but having nothing to do with COVID. That's not why I know, but simply because of how they think it's okay to treat you because you're black. They've been had this coming from us. But then you got to know what their languages sound like when they speak them and how they sound distinct from other languages. Other nationalities should probably be left alone. Even the Vietnamese, because a few of them are anti-black, most of them are not. It's rare even for them. I've heard of 2 instances, but for the most part, they don't hate us. They don't even look down on us in a lot of cases. But when it comes down to these 2 arrogant nationalities, ironically, who don't like the Japanese for the same reasons, I don't have a moral problem with whatever happens to them. I have a tactical disagreement with the idea of us grabbing them up. See, the thing is, number one, we don't have to. We can just simply sit back and let the mayonnaise mafia get to them. Number two, you'll go to jail if you do this, and you go to jail for longer than any of the mayonnaise mafia would ever do for doing the same thing, no matter how much they may deserve it. Number three, protecting them from Master Charlie is a good money-making opportunity for us. I just don't want to see us go to jail behind them. I don't think they're worth it. But morally speaking, you're not going to hear me complaining. What about the others, though? The other nationalities? Well, see, that's where you come in. You see one of usins roughing up one of the Southeast tropical non-hostile Asians, and you say, wait. I can tell this is not someone from China or Korea. What's it matter to you, man? You ain't got nothing to do with this, and they all the same. Okay, see, now that's when you pull the knife out and you put it in that porch monkey's chest to protect somebody else, because you don't go to jail for defending somebody else. In most states. If your state is different, find out, of course, but find out before this happens. Because, see, it's actually perfectly okay for us to go up against another one of our race of a much lower IQ to defend someone that's not an enemy. Why is that? It's simple. Every group of people involved in a hostility with an enemy can understand and appreciate the importance of not making new enemies that were not enemies before. Every group of people not involved in hostilities and enjoying times of peace can understand and appreciate the importance of that. All can. If you have a hothead member of your group that's going to run the uck out there and make enemies that were not enemies before, and you put that ignorant father mucker to sleep, perfectly within your right. You're not doing it because you just love lighter skinned people than yourself and you hate yourself. You're doing it because you love your people and you don't believe that your people should have to suffer because of a stupid father mucker like this. Other groups of people do that. Just like they'll fight to defend their own, they will also get rid of the dumb, hot-headed members of their own that will cause wars for nothing, unnecessarily, and make unnecessary enemies. Now, some of you all know this. If any of you have ever been in a gang, you know that if your leader says, I don't even believe that it was that particular person that did this, that, or the other, and you wait for my orders before you retaliate because it may be someone else, the one that goes off and does something to who you think did it gets dealt with. Now, I've never been in a gang, and I know that. So, that having been said, I'm not saying that we're going to accept the blame for every act of violence against them, because a lot of it ain't us. As I've said before, I'm sure we don't have the numbers or the motivation. Also, in the event that any Asians want to bring this up to you, I think you should do the usual diversion tactics. Well, we don't feel like doing stuff like this to you in most cases. It's only the dumbest. But you don't know which white guy is going to go after you. What about the way you all have regarded us? Well, that's if they're from China or Korea. And then also say, what about Asian on Asian violence, huh? Don't talk to us about it. We rarely go up against y'all. What about Asian on Asian violence? And what about Chinese on black violence? So verbally speaking, irritate the hell out of them. But we're not here to make enemies that were not enemies before. And that Malaysian, that Indonesian, that Southern Filipino, that Thai, that Laotian, that Cambodian, that Vietnamese, even the few Thai and Vietnamese that may not like black folks are not your enemy. Your enemy is not even the Japanese in this case. Your enemy is strictly the racist Chinese and Koreans. It's not even their teenagers that are your enemies. Most of the teenagers don't have a problem with you. To be honest, just being fair, just trying to be honest about this. Most don't. And if they do, they probably wouldn't oppress you. And truth be told, we can hurt them a lot more easily if we simply did what we've been talking about doing all this time. And we not only did not support their business, but you know what? Didn't stay in areas with those who did. Just like some of the sisters will not consider you for anything except being used or friend zone. If you're the type of man that studies and reads, don't consider even a sister for anything. If she's going to support their businesses, don't even hire her to paint your front porch. That's where you hurt them. You can support or you could patronize some regular businesses run by these other nationalities. That's different. But the businesses run by the Chinese and the Koreans in our areas, don't support them, and don't lend helping hands to the sisters that support their hair and nail shops. I'm going to tell you one other thing, and I've said this before, and then I'm out. Stop saying that the Asians have their stuff together. No, they don't. Especially the Chinese and the Koreans. They're fronting, they're putting on an image, they're mountains in debt. They're trying to keep up with not only the Joneses, because that's our last name. They're trying to keep up with the Smiths. What other last name sounds ultra white right now in your mind? That's what they're trying to keep up with. Dying in debt to do it. They're putting on a front for each other and for these white folk and for you. They don't have their stuff together. They got gang problems, and this goes beyond nationalities. You got Panay gangs. You also got Vietnamese gangs. You got Chinese gangs, and it ain't just the triads. I'll tell you who doesn't necessarily have gangs. Indonesians, Malaysians, I don't think Koreans do. And while the Yakuza is active in Japan, and I've heard in some parts of Canada, you don't hear about them even being active, certainly not at the street level in the United States. So even the Japanese, you can't say have them. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but they don't have much of that for the most part. The Bruneians don't. I don't hear about any Thai gangs either. Laotians and Cambodians probably don't have gangs except maybe some in Cali and in Houston. Maybe. I don't even know about Houston. For the most part, no, they don't. But there are gangs run by various Asian nationalities. So whether they're hostile to us or not. So stop letting people tell you that they're one community, because they're not, as I just told you. And stop letting people tell you that they got their stuff together. They got kids who fail in math, suck at science, and their families act like they never had these kids. They try to hide them away. Pretty much oppressing these kids to a certain extent. You're going to do and be only this. See, there are two extremes. You can be very lax with whatever careers your kids choose, and you can be very strict with it. There are two extremes with that too, and we know which one they choose. So stop thinking that they're just all together, they're all one, they're all this perfect community. They're not. And if you talk to the young people, you could find out that everything I told you was true. I think you get the idea. Thanks for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, Black Heterosexual, Non-Select Male Power just because they don't like it, and Black Patriarchy until extinction or Judgment Day.